Hey guys, welcome to our species spotlight on Neolamprologus brevis, a lovely little shell dweller from Lake Tanganyikan. This always gives me a lot of enjoyment talking about any cichlids from Lake Tanganyikan because there's really good stats we can review on the lake, which is of course, in our opinion, always very important to consider when you're keeping fish. Now, this species of fish is endemic to Lake Tanganyikan. It's well distributed throughout its massive 32,900 square kilometer surface area. Absolutely huge, 12,700 square miles. It's an inland rift lake. Thing is gigantic. It's estimated to be the second largest lake in the world by water volume, and it's in fact divided by 4 different African countries: the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Burundi, Tanzania, and Zambia. So it's a huge lake. There are at least 250 cichlid species that inhabit Lake Tanganyikan, and almost all of them are endemic. And when we say endemic, we mean that these are fish that are exclusively native to this a body of water, in this case a huge body of water. The water of Lake Tanganyikan, or the water chemistry of Lake Tanganyikan, is very hard and alkaline. The most prevalent specific ions that you find in Lake Tanganyikan after sodium are in fact magnesium and potassium. So for those of you that are breeding Tanganyikan cichlids, it's always a good idea to add some of that. We'll get into what compound you can use, pretty simple. And Lamprologus brevis, basically in terms of where they inhabit the lake, it's in deep offshore areas over softer type substrates where there's a distribution of natural shells that are found on the bottom. Now, when we're looking at some of the data concerning behavior, tank mates, water conditions, type of tank setup, the fish is obviously a very peaceful fish, the brevis. It can coexist in community tank with other small dwarf Tanganyikan cichlids like Juliochromis ornatus, transcriptus, for example. Calvus is another, Lamprologus calvus is another good fish to mix with it. But our preference really would be to combine it with a species that inhabits mid-water level, have the brevis on the bottom, for example, and a nice little group of shells. And for the mid-water fish, you would select something like Cyprichromis leptosoma, beautiful schooling fish, mouth brooder, against a backdrop of some nice Vallisneria. Vallisneria being a species typically that tolerates harder water conditions, makes for a really, really nice setup using those fish. Now, a ratio of at least 2 females per male is recommended for Lamprologus brevis, and the males get bigger than the females. They reach about 2.5 inches approximately. Females about 1.5 inches. For those of us to think in terms of centimeters, that's 6 centimeters about for the males and about 4 centimeters for the females. It does require an open kind of sandy area. We like white sand, looks a little bit better with a bunch of shells scattered around, and I would recommend that the shells are varying types and sizes, so as the fish grow they can adapt to it easily. Lighting should be moderate to fairly well lit. Clear water and pH range of about 8 to 9, and a hardness value somewhere between 10 and 20 DKH. So that's hard water, alkaline water. Adding appropriate quantities of magnesium will take care of this naturally when you want to get your water hardness up, as it is obviously a water hardness causing ion. Temperature range of about 77 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not a difficult species to spawn. The male is no longer involved once the act is completed. It's basically the female that looks after the brood, guards the shell. Now, in terms of feeding, not a fussy feeder, very easy to feed. They do well on a variety of very small flakes, pellets, frozen foods that are readily accepted. And when you're getting them ready to, or conditioning to spawn, basically just some chopped up shrimp and krill is more than enough to get these fish in prime condition. Now, in summary, this is a great species for people that are interested in spawning shell dwellers. They're hardy, they're easy to breed, and setting up a trio in a 15-gallon aquarium over a thick sandy bottom with an assortment of shells is basically the formula. Observing this fish with its tendency to hover over the shells, defend its little territory, is really interesting to see their swimming patterns and how they move about the shells. Regular partial water changes are always a good idea. Maintaining the right water chemistry, and to bring up the hardness, you can use magnesium sulfate, readily available, and potassium chloride. It's a little bit tougher to find, but you can get it. Will yield the subtle but beautiful lavender background that these fish are really well known for, with the thin striping. Very, very attractive fish, easy to keep, great for those that want to get into some Tanganyikan dwarfs. Thanks a lot for watching. Got any things you want to know about, please leave some questions in the below, and give us a thumbs up.